The dawn of writing, decipherment of the Thinite, Dispilio tablet, and Gobekli Tepe pillars. In ancient times, was there a worldwide civilization that used a common writing system, employing identical symbols 10,000 years ago? The answer is yes. This ancient writing system is called Thinite. The Thinite writing system began 10,000 years ago in Africa. In the dawn of writing, decipherment of Thinite, Dispilio tablet, and Gobekli Tepe pillars, I explained how the Thinite writing was used by people from 10,000 BC up to the Meroitic Empire and beyond. Thinite was first used in the Proto-Sahara, fertile African crescent. This was a center of civilization for thousands of years. Tamana was the culture spread by the Proto-Saharans, which included the Mites. Tamana is the name of a former worldwide civilization that existed after the fall of Ma civilization in Middle Africa became more arid. People from the Ma Confederation spread their culture worldwide after the fall of the great Anu civilizations in Egypt and Mesopotamia. The Proto-Saharans shared place names. Evidence for the shared place names was discovered by Dr. Vamas Toth-Bator. Dr. Vamas Toth-Bator calls this ancient civilization, this root culture, Tamana. The term Tamana can be interpreted in the Manding and Dravidian languages as strong place, stronghold, or original settlement. The term Tamana is one of over 1 million place names Dr. Vamas Toth has found which link Africa, Asia, and Europe. The Proto-Saharans claim descent from the Ma, or Fish Confederation. The Ma Confederation includes the ancient Egyptians, the Lamites, Dravidians, Manding, and Sumerian speakers. In honor of the great ancestor Ma, they worshiped a god called Amun, Aman, or Amma. They also worshiped Neith, Nia, Anubis, and Seth. In honor of this great ancestor Ma, the descendants of the Proto-Saharans used the term Ma to denote greatness or highness, e.g. Manding, Manga, and Dravidian Ma. Other Proto-Saharan tribes claim direct descent from the great Ma, founder of the Fish Confederation. For example, the Mandi-speaking people called themselves Ma-Indi, children of Ma, while the Sumerians were called Magari, exalted God's children. The cultural elements and place names shared by the Proto-Saharans are the foundation for the Tamana civilization. The Proto-Saharans lived in the Tamana colonies. In the dawn of writing, decipherment of the Thinite, Dispilio tablet, and Gobekli Tepe pillars, I explained the origin of this writing system. The writing system of the Tamana people was Thinite. Edwin van der Brink provides a detailed discussion of pot marks dating to the Thinite period from Lower and Upper Egypt. There is continuity between these signs from the Thinite period through Dynasty 0 and 1, down to the Saharan Libico-Berber rock inscriptions, the Bisalabri, and the so-called figural writing that we find in many places in the Nile Valley, especially during the Meroitic period. The Egyptian pot marks in Upper and Lower Egypt were based on Thinite. The Egyptian archaeologist William Matthew Flanders Petrie was the first to record these Egyptian pot marks, or the figural signs. In the dawn of writing, decipherment of the Thinite, Dispilio tablet, and Gobekli Tepe pillars, I discuss how these marks are found on pottery dating to Dynasty 0 and 1. The Thinite pot marks published by Van der Brink agree almost totally with pottery marks found on ancient ceramics from Africa to Eurasia. The Thinite pottery marks evolved into a writing system. Thinite was used to write many inscriptions in Africa 10,000 to 6,500 years ago. I, Dr. Clyde Wittens, in African Origin and World Writing System, published many Thinite inscriptions. I published even more in this volume. The Tamana people not only left thousands of Tamana place names in Africa, they also left Thinite inscriptions. In African Origin World Writing Systems, I discussed the Thinite inscriptions found at Wet Merketek, Gebel Sheikh Suleiman, the inscriptions found on the ear of the Sphinx, and the inscriptions at the entrance to the Great Pyramid. These inscriptions indicate that the Tamana people were very religious, as illustrated by the Thinite inscriptions above the entrance to the Great Pyramid. The Dispilio tablet and Gobekli Tepe writing appears to have been also based on thinite. This is obvious when we compare Dispilio and Gobekli signs to the thinite inscriptions as illustrated in the figure, prehistoric scripts based on thinite. In 1993, a mysterious inscribed tablet was discovered by Dr. George Hormozidius around the village of Dispilio on Lake Castoria, in the Castoria prefecture of Greece. This ancient disk is called the Dispilio tablet. Much of Greece was colonized by Libyans in ancient times. According to the Olympian creation myth, the earliest group to appear on Earth were the Libyco-Thracians. The Libyans were Proto-Saharans and were the original Thracians. Greco-Roman literature makes it clear many ancient Greeks came from Libya. These people of the heroic age came from diverse origins. The Aryan Greeks called them Pelasgians. According to the Greeks, the first man was Pelasgus, ancestor of the Pelasgians. The Pelasgians were a combination of different Grecian tribes called Achaeans, Cadmeans, Elegies, Carians, or Gadamantes. The Indo-European Greeks were mainly Ionians, and they only appear on the scene much, much, much later. The term Pelasgian was applied to all these pre-Hellenic inhabitants of Greece. R.J. Hopper in the early Greeks noted that, and I quote, "Indeed, the classic Greeks believed in separate existence of diverse ethnic elements side by side, and thought particularly of the Pelasgians in this connection," unquote. According to tradition, the Pelasgians inhabited Arcadia and many Aegean islands. Some of the Pelasgians were Libyans. The Libyans took thinite, their own writing, to Greece, which was later used to write Minoan Linear A. According to Herodotus, the quadrigas or four-horse chariots were introduced to Greeks by the Libyans. The Garamantes founded the Greek cities of Thrace, Minoan, Crete, and Attica. The Garamantes were also called Carian by the Indo-European-speaking Greeks. Robert Graves in the Greek myths and Leo Frubinus linked the Garamantes to the ancient empire of Ghana. Dr. Graves claimed that the term Garamantes is the Greek plural for Gadama or Gadamas. He says the present Jarama or Jama were descendants of the Garamante of Libya, and that the Jaramandi lived near the Niger River. Naturally, they were Mandingo or Mandi speakers. The Garamantes or Carians originally lived in the Fezzan. These Garamantes were described by Latin classical writers as black or dark skin. The Olympian creation myth, as recorded by Pindar in fragments and Apollonius Rhodius, makes it clear that the Garamantes early colonized Greece. Their descendants were called Carians. The Carians practiced apiculture. As in Africa, the Carians practiced matrilineal descent. According to Herodotus, even up until his time, the Carians took the name of their mother. The Garamantes founded Attica, where they worked the mines of Laurentium. Demeter, the goddess of agriculture and fruitfulness, came from the Fezzan, Libya, by way of Crete. It was Demeter who took poppy seeds and figs to Europe. Apollonius Rhodius tells us that the goddess Athene was born beside Lake Triton in Libya. The goddess Athene was called Neith by the Egyptians and Nea by the Cretans in Linear A writing. This god that the Garamantes took to Europe, in addition to Demeter, as I said earlier, was the god Ammon. The discovery of the Dispilio tablet was not announced by Dr. Hormozidius until 2004. The Dispilio tablet has over 40 inscribed signs on the tablet. It has been dated by carbon-14 to about 7,300 years before the present. This would date the Dispilio tablet back to 5,260 BC. The dating of the Dispilio tablet makes the writing 2,000 years older than Sumerian cuneiform. It is at least 4,000 years older than the Minoan Linear A writing. The inscriptions on the Dispilio tablet are written in 4 columns. The signs on the Dispilio tablet are written in thinite. The thinite language used to write these inscriptions was Malinki Bambara. It appears that for a long period of time, the Malinki Bambara people, who called themselves Shi, Su, plural, were many of the rulers in the Nile Valley, where the thinite was used. And also we know that they founded the Libyan civilizations, also ancient Crete. It seems as though because the Sioux also spread civilization, not only from the Nile Valley on into the Niger the Niger Valley, but they also spread civilization into China, where they became the Shia civilization, and the Sioux people also founded the ancient Elamite civilization. As a result, as I said earlier, Thinite inscriptions are written in the Mandi language. The inscriptions on the Dispilio tablet are written, as I said before, in 4 columns. Read the Dispilio tablet top to bottom, right to left. We have the following. Column 1. Preserve thou ruler. Thou art in the company of King and Tutu. Therefore, Iglu, thou art an object consecrated to the cult, a talisman effective in providing one with virtue to Tulu. Igai, grow zeal and success for Igu's vital spirit. Column 2. Igu becomes a powerful, sacred, and unblemished king, desiring to be loved. Iglu, offer up libations. Thou art a mark of admiration. Thou art now void of breath. Still, thou art a supporter of the mystic order. Column 3. Brothers, remain thou king. He was obedient indeed to the order, a mark of admiration to Nia. O Iglu, thou who art void of breath, thou art compelled to be obedient to the god Tutu, and hold upright the principles of life, Igu, the pure victor. Column 4. King Iglu's libation of love has much moral approval to act as a source of spiritual tranquility and has merit. Hold upright the king's family. Habitation. The hemispheric tomb is therefore honored as a sacrifice. This translation of the Dispilio tablet makes it clear that it was originally an obituary, sealed in the hemispheric tomb of King Iglu. It would appear from the tablet that Yo, or tomb of Iglu, was recognized as a religious site where pilgrims could obtain blessings by visiting Iglu's tomb. You're going to find when you read the decipherment of the Dispilio tablet and the Dana writing, you're going to find out in a sense that many places, in a sense, where we find these Thinite inscriptions are places where people came and they worshiped, and they also, in a sense, recognized and supported their faith, and they saw themselves as places that had been sanctified by saints, who these people, in a sense, looked to as great ancestors. There were several gods mentioned in the obituary, including Nia Neith, her son Tutu, and Igai, lord of the Daklak oasis. It would appear that Iglu was a patron of Tutu. The decipherment of the Dispilio tablet makes it clear that the Libyans in Crete at Dispilio continued to worship the gods they had worshipped in the Sahara. It is also evident that pilgrims obtained pilgrimage by visiting the tombs of their deceased kings. When you buy the Down of Writing Deciphering the Thinite Dispilio tablet and Gobekli Tepe pillars, you're going to find, in a sense, that, in summary, 10,000 people used this language for thousands and thousands of years. 10,000 years ago, people expanded across the Green Sahara during the human period. These agro-pastoral people built towns and cities where they cultivated millet and herded goats and cattle. Increased grain production and animal husbandry gave the people the leisure time to create new cultural capital. One of the most important cultural capital was writing, Thinite writing. In the Dawn of Writing decipherment of the Thinite Dispilio tablet and Gobekli Tepe pillars, I discuss the origin of the Thinite or figural writing. Thinite was used to write religious and secular inscriptions in Africa and Eurasia between 10,000 BC and 300 AD. The Dawn of Writing decipherment of the Thinite Dispilio tablet and Gobekli Tepe pillars explains how to read the script, engraved in stone. This book provides keen insight into the literacy of these ancient people before history and decipherment of some of their principal monuments. This is an important book. You should buy it. You'll love it, and you'll become much more aware of the literacy of these ancient Black people.